These new God cards are amazing. Dual sauce, extra sauce. Hit that subscribe. Hey everyone, this is Jesse from the Janjo Zone here to talk about some new cards from the Prismatic God box the OCG is getting in December. I know these were announced last week, but hey, there's a lot of cards to get to. I've already made videos talking about Golden Idol and the new Holy Knight archetype, where they made Searu a whole slew of cards. I'm really excited about that, and you have to watch it because it's pretty awesome. But eventually, I did want to get to these other cards. Yes, we got more God support. About, a month or so ago, we got the Rage of Ra pack, where we got a lot of Winged Dragon of Ra support. I'm really excited we got that because it really was the first time we got any sort of God support in general. The only other cards we had was Ra Servant and a couple other Winged Dragon of Ra cards like Sphere, but we haven't really got an archetype around the gods that were actually usable. And when we got Ra, I think a lot of people, including myself, were wondering, well, where is the other ones? Where is Obelisk, the Tormenter, and Slifer, the Sky Dragon cards? And we actually have 3 cards announced for the God box, so I'm hoping there's more eventually for the support, but hey, it's a start. So let's start with this. Wait, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't, because that helps me upload more videos and know that you like content like this. So let's start with Thunder Force Attack. Yeah, this is Slifer's specialty named attack where he just spits out lightning at your opponent. It's that simple. But this is a quick play spell card, and let's read the effect. You can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn. This card's activation and effect cannot be negated. That's really cool. If you control a monster whose original name is Slifer the Sky Dragon, destroy as many face-up monsters your opponent currently controls as possible. Then, if this card was activated during your main phase, you can draw cards equal to the number of monsters destroyed and sent to your opponent's graveyard by this effect. But you can attack with only 1 monster this turn. This is actually a really good card, so let's break it down. So the first effect, you cannot negate. Your opponent cannot negate it. So that's really cool. You essentially get a free card. I'm also surprised more cards don't have this nowadays because the power scaling of everything is just going to a crazy high. So its effect is that you have to control a Slifer Sky Dragon on the field. You can't have anything that fakes that. You only have the 1 card unless they make other cards that have that name, I think, or is it just, I'm not sure how that exactly works, but you destroy as many face-up monsters your opponent currently controls as possible. So that's really cool. It doesn't target, it just destroys as many of them. So the only way your opponent could prevent this is if they're not able to be destroyed by card effects. And then you get to draw cards if activated during your main phase, which is really cool because you have main phase 1, main phase 2. But a good chunk of time, there is a good reason to activate during the main phase because you can draw all those cards, all those free cards, really. Like, that's a lot of cards you can draw. Now, surely you can only activate this card once per turn, but you're gaining a lot of advantage with that, which is great because otherwise Slifer wouldn't have too much going for it to summon it. But that also increases his attack by how many cards you draw. So if you activate this during main phase 1, then Slifer gets a really good attack boost, and that's a really cool way to benefit Slifer the Sky Dragon. And of course you can attack with 1 monster once per turn, but if you have a powerful Slifer, then that's all you might need. This might be enough for some weird OTK deck. I don't know, it's definitely a possibility. So let's look at the next card. So now we got the Obelisk card, that is Fist of Fate. Yeah, it's also his attack, kind of like how we got Ra's Blaze Cannon. So same thing as Slifer's Thunder Force, you can only activate once per turn, and it cannot be negated. If you control a monster whose original name is Obelisk Tormenter, negate the effects of 1 effect monster your opponent controls, and if you do, destroy it. And if you do that, for the rest of this turn, its effects are negated, as well as the activated effects and effects on the field of monsters with the same original name. Then, if this card is activated in your main phase, destroy all spell and trap cards you control. Alright, so this, I don't see this as good as Thunder Force. It is cool that you can negate an effect non-targeting, but I wish it negated all the effects. I wish it was like a Dark Ruler No More. But it does destroy the 1 monster it negates, and on top of that, for the rest of the turn, it cannot activate its effects. So if it's sent to the graveyard, then it won't work, as well as any monster on the field with that same name. So if your opponent has multiple monsters, it negates all those too. So it flat out negates everything of that monster, which that's pretty good. Of course, you have to control an Obelisk to activate this effect, so it does have that mandatory prerequisite. And if it was activating your main phase, destroy all spell and traps your opponent controls. So, but still, you can destroy all spell and traps your opponent controls, which is great. It kind of works in the anime effect where spell and traps don't really affect god monsters. You know, when you see Obelisk just punch right through a mirror force, like that's pretty awesome. And they kind of playing into that. And it doesn't negate effects, so it's just pure beatdown kind of, but it does destroy the monster. I kind of wish it was something more like it doubles the attack of Obelisk, and you can choose one opponent's monsters and its effects negated and its attack turns to 0. Some crazy OTK thing I think would fit Obelisk a bit better, but still, this is cool because again, you negate a card, you can negate multiple cards potentially. On top of that, you can destroy a monster, and you can destroy all spells and traps your opponent controls. So it's a Harpy's Feather Duster in itself too. It's a combination of a bunch of cool cards like a Forbidden Lance and a Feather Duster, on top of some other fancy cards, because it can't be negated either way, and it still is a quick play spell. So I'm excited to see that. We still have to wait and see if we get more support for these cards to get a separate Obelisk deck and a separate Slifer deck, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm sure we'll get some more eventually. So the last card we got here is another quick play spell card. This is Exchanging Souls. This is, I guess, Ishizu based because you got her monsters in the artwork, and she did originally own Obelisk the Tormenter. So its effect is you can activate one card with this card's name once per turn. During the main phase, immediately after this effect resolves, so this can be negated, tribute summon one Divine Beast monster. When you do, you can also tribute monsters your opponent controls as if you control them, but you can only activate one card or effect other than Divine Monsters effects per turn until the end of the next turn. Wow, that's kind of a big drawback. So what this effect basically does is that it acts like a Monarch Stormforth, as well as a double summon, where you can summon one more time and you can use your opponent's monsters, which is pretty cool since you can use many cards to get on your field, but you don't have to tribute them. You can use all 3 of your opponent's monsters as a tribute, so it's like a super polymerization in that regard. But the downside is you can activate one card or effect other than Divine Monsters, which means that you don't get a ton of options of things to do. You're kind of stuck with using these monsters and their effects. But I'm hoping that what this also means is that when they release more support and stuff, you'll have plenty of ways to set up your field when you have cards like Thunder Force and Fists of Fate, and hopefully better ways to get out these monsters a bit quicker. You can potentially destroy your opponent's whole field, get out these giant monsters, and just swing for game. This fantastic OTK deck. So I'm really hoping that's what this is eventually leading up to, because if the drawback of this effect waits until the end of the next turn, so the end of, I guess that would imply your opponent's end phase, you're kind of left with these big monsters and go, well, okay, this is what I got, deal with it. And it does feel similar to the Raw strategy, where it is very get out just one giant monster and just hopefully you can kill your opponent with that. And that kind of plays into what the God cards are supposed to be like. You just get these monsters out and your opponent has no way to deal with them and you win. So I'm excited to see what other God cards they release do. I'm excited to see that we're getting Obelisk and Slifer support. I definitely think these, for the most part, fit the monsters. I'm really excited to see more God stuff because it's been way too long that we haven't seen anything for them. So let me know what you think about the support. Do you think that they're gonna help make the cards? Obviously, there's gotta be more cards in this coming out, but do you think it's a good stepping stone for this potential God deck? Let me know what you think in the comments below or on my Twitter at the Janjo Zone, and make sure to check out my merch because I got a lot of really cool shirts, like a dual sauce shirt, and check out my Patreon because you can get cool perks on there as well, like getting your name in the credits of my videos, a special shout out, or even allowing the channel to do one discussion monthly that you want to see. So again, let me know what you think, and until then, have a wonderful day.